Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends. It's that magical time of the year where standard rotation is about to occur. A new set is coming in, we're losing a lot of the old favorites, and everything's fresh and new. But today, we're going to talk about 16 cards that are going to be leaving the standard format with rotation that you might want to hang on to, or if you don't have them in your collection, you might want to grab them. Quick reminder about the Picks of the Month series first. We do one of these videos each month, but they do go out a little bit sooner to the gold patrons. By the time you see this on YouTube, it could be about 24 to 48 hours later. Some of the prices we're talking about today might have shifted a little, but I'm not anticipating big changes for the cards we're talking about today. Okay, so before we get into the 16 cards, why do you want these cards? Well, this is not a strategy video. I'm not talking about necessarily the best cards to play that are going to leave the standard format. This is more along the lines of a finance video, but this is also not a get-rich-quick scheme or anything like that. These are cards that potentially could grow. Maybe it's a little bit, maybe it's a lot over the course of the next few months, years even. So don't feel like you need to go out and buy like 50 copies of these cards or anything like that. If these cards are on your want list, you might want to pick them up sooner than later. That's really the message of the video. Okay, we're going to go through in color pie order, beginning with Karn, Sign of Urza, $9.23. Not necessarily a cheap card, but definitely a card that has room for growth in the coming months. This card already sees play in Modern as well as Legacy. It was actually doing very well in Vintage, but that has kind of fallen off because of the restriction of Karn the Great Creator and Mystic Forge there. There was a Karn Shops deck that this was a part of, which was looking great for a long time. But regardless, check out what it's doing in Modern. It's showing up sometimes in Hardened Scales or Mono Blue Tron or other decks there. Also in Legacy, sometimes you'll find this in like Sneak and Show and some other builds there as well. Our next card is Alpine Moon. This one's a lot cheaper at $1.43. Very easy pickup. You can grab a whole play set of these relatively cheap, and I would if you don't have them. This right now is a card that is seeing Modern sideboard play. It deals with the Tron lands, it deals with Eldrazi Temple, a couple of the prominent strategies that you do encounter when you play Modern, although Eldrazi has fallen off a little bit in this new meta, but Tron's never going anywhere, right? This also gets better in the future as we get more cards that this will interact with. Blood Sun at $1.47, another pretty cheap card here, good to have if you don't have it, because this one, much like the last card, can host some strategies, but maybe more importantly here, this can also unlock strategies for you that are more offensive. For example, this plays really well with something like Lotus Field. Turning off drawbacks on lands can be very powerful. As a matter of fact, you see this already in Legacy Mono Red Eldrazi. They use this to turn off the drawback on City of Traders, for example. It's actually a main deck card there. This is also very useful, obviously, in Commander or the Singleton formats if you have any shenanigans with some of your lands. And like I said, it can also protect you sometimes from things your opponents might be doing. Okay, we go back up a little bit with Growing Rights of Itlimoc at $8.31. This transforms into Itlimoc, Cradle of the Sun. Now, this isn't about Modern or Legacy or anything like that. This is about Commander and those Singleton formats. This card is fantastic. They are seeing a ton of play. And if you're playing green and you have a lot of creatures, you probably want this in your deck, right? Now, the other thing to keep in mind is when it comes to reprinting cards, sometimes it's harder for Wizards to reprint cards that transform because they do have to make a commitment to that in whatever product they're creating. Because of that, this might not see a reprint for a while. And if that's the case, who knows how high the value could be before it finally does get reprinted. Next, we have a reprint. It is Scapeshift. You know it. You love it. This is the copy from Core Set 2019. It's at $15.33. The Morningtide copy costs a little bit more, but not a bad pickup either if you want the original. This card has cooled off a little bit because of the rotation. However, we know this is always going to be a great Modern card currently played in Titan Shift and Bring to Light Scapeshift decks. I'm pretty confident this is always going to be present in that format. Muldrotha the Gravetide at $6.82. This is kind of an interesting one for me because typically when I look at a list like this, I don't think to put the commanders in here, but this is an awesome commander. However, usually you're looking for cards that are going to be commander staples, right? They're going to show up in a whole bunch of different decks, where this is only going to show up in Muldrotha decks and, okay, maybe some other decks like Yarok the Desecrated. Now, with that being said, though, this card has been wildly popular, and it is a mythic rare from Dominaria. Because of that, it's already close to $7, and it's not going down. This thing's going to keep going up until eventually one day it does see a reprint. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, $21.92. You know why this card's good. It had a huge presence in Standard, now it's leaving Standard, but it has a great presence in Modern. It's in these Stoneblade builds, which are doing really well, in the more classic Control builds as well. Yeah, Teferi's going to be sticking around that format for sure. Zakama Primal Calamity at $16.62. So here we are with another Commander card, and this could be your Commander for a Dino deck or something like that. But what makes this card especially intriguing is its combo potential. Even just recently, there's been a number of new cards that play well with this. In Commander 2019, we saw Sanctum of Eternity. In Throne of Eldraine, there's Castle Garenbrig and Fires of Invention. I feel like the longer this card exists, the more things you're going to be able to do with it that are going to be crazy and broken in the Commander format. Another reprint from Core Set 2019 here with Crucible of Worlds, $20.91 for this copy. And sure, you could also pick up the 5th Dawn copy right now or the 10th edition copy. Those are at pretty low points for this card as well, but they're going to cost a little more than this one. This didn't do a whole lot in Standard during its time there, but we know what it does in other formats. You're going to find this in Modern Tron builds, Amulet Titan, and other decks there. This sees a little Vintage play even, and of course is a great Commander and casual card. Damping Sphere, $1.19. This one's real cheap because it isn't uncommon. Now, granted, some of the cards we're going to look at today are uncommons. It means there's a lot more copies out there. But as time goes on, if these cards don't see reprints, they could potentially go up in value too, so it might take a little longer. But this is a card that sees Modern sideboard play right now, and you can bring it in to deal with Tron, Eldrazi, or Storm. Helm of the Host. This takes us back to the Commander realm, $6.22. This is a fantastic Commander card. This is one of those cards that can fit into any deck, and pretty much you just see it all the time now if you're sitting down at the Commander table. That's not going to change. This card's going to keep going up in value, again, until you see a reprint, but we just don't know when that's going to be. The Immortal Sun at $14. Great card for Oathbreaker, great card for Commander. It did a little bit of work in Standard here or there over its time, but not a whole lot. However, never really got very cheap because of the singleton formats, and you could expect this trend to continue as time wears on. This card will slowly increase. Mox Amber, $19.16. Okay, so this one is a little weird because it is currently spiking. Usually I want to put a card on here that is currently going up in value aggressively. It kind of feels like we already missed the boat on it. However, you could argue that if you can grab these still for anywhere between $15, $18, which is very realistic if you shop around, then yeah, maybe it's a good idea to grab a playset because this card is really starting to take off. And I think, again, as more cards are printed in the future, this just stands to get better. Right now, the big speculation is this is going to be part of Paradoxical Urza in Modern, and that deck is going to continue to perform well. If that happens, the card continues to go up in value. Now, if it doesn't happen, maybe it stumbles, even comes down a little bit. Time will tell there. The reason, though, I don't think that's going to happen is because of Emery Lurker of the Lock, of course, which is coming from Throne of Eldraine. That card is going to interact very favorably with this one, not only in Paradoxical Urza, but also in a lot of Commander builds. This is definitely a card to keep your eye on in the short term, kind of see what the price is doing, and if you can get a good deal, you might want to pull the trigger. Vanquisher's Banner, $4.75. I love this card. This is phenomenal. What's awesome about it is casual players, if you want an Anthem effect for your tribe, your personal favorite tribe, no matter what it is, here you go. For 5 mana, you got that. Also, it helps you keep your hand stocked. So you're going to see this a lot of times in Commander tribal builds or Oathbreaker tribal builds, or just kitchen table magic. A lot of players are going to want this card as time goes on, and it's going to get harder and harder to find, so if you can grab it for under $5, I would probably do that now. Field of Ruin, $3.82. So this one's interesting, because first off, it's an uncommon, so sure, there's a lot of copies out there because of that. Secondly, there were 2 copies in the Second Sun Control Challenger deck from 2018, so that pushed even more copies out there in the marketplace. Even so, this card is pushing the $4 mark. Why is that? Well, because it sees play in Modern. You're going to find this in Stoneblade builds, Control builds, and much more there. Kind of the same story here. Unclaimed Territory at $2.23. It wasn't uncommon, and there were 3 copies in the Vehicle Rush Challenger deck in 2018. So with all those extra copies out there, you still got a card that is holding value, and it is because of its play in Modern. First off, Humans decks, Elementals decks, and more will run it there. Legacy Humans runs this too, and sometimes you find it in other decks in that format as well. And of course, Commander, Casual Tribal again. This is a great card for those decks. Okay, those are my 16 cards. There's a lot of great cards out there though, so I'm sure you might be able to think of some others that you want to pick up or have been trying to pick up. Let me know in the comments below what those are. And until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.